Hi, everyone. We are joined here today with Ralph March, who is a year-round volunteer with NEHSA. Today, he's going to be talking to us about some different paddle selection when kayaking and also some paddle strokes. So, Ralph, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can let us know what you want to talk about.
Hey, this is Ralph March. I'm in the beauty of my back deck here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what we need for a motor on the water when we're kayaking, and that is our kayak paddle. The one I have in my hand right now has a crooked shaft. It's all carbon fiber, and it's got a place like for my hands. It's also a little bit feathered, okay, and it's got a very large blade. This is a whitewater paddle. What I also have here is this one has a smaller shaft. It's I actually bought this for my mother, and she uses it because she has smaller hands. It's more comfortable for her. It's got a locking ferrule, and it can go left and right as far as feather or straight up and down. This is the type that most people have. It doesn't have carbon fiber. It's all fiberglass here with a plastic kind of end. These are inexpensive, very serviceable, very good, and they will feather a little bit left and right with the button in the middle. A very good paddle. Again, it has a little bit of a longer blade. You'll notice my mother's has a longer, thinner blade. That's more of a touring style paddle for what we mostly do. So for most of what we do with NEHSA, this is actually a great blade because it requires a little less effort in the water. You want to keep the paddle low in the water and just glide it through, but we'll go over that. The last one was actually given to me as a gift, and it's just showing off here. This is a nice wooden Mitchell paddle that they gave me when I retired, and it's like a crown jewel, and I love this paddle. And it is not feathered. It is a straight paddle. It's got a nice wooden shaft. Anyway, it's my little jewel piece, and I'm going to put that back up here so it doesn't get dinged up too much. I don't use it all that much. So let's talk about a few paddle strokes, shall we? First of all, we always want the back of the paddle, this back of the paddle, all right, facing forward. The inside piece where you mostly can read what the people are saying, like aquabound, if that's upside down, you have the paddle wrong. But we want it to be nice, and we want that to look towards us. That's called the scoop or the power face. That's going to give us the propulsion through the water, and if you're doing it right, you'll see what the little swirl behind the paddle is called. Here's the big word, cavity. Okay, it's a cavity that it produces the power through the water. All right. So what we want to do is we want to have this nice, and these are just drip rings. They're not hand holders or anything else. When you move them out, they keep the water from dripping down onto your hands. So we're going to hold the paddle. We want it to be level when we paddle, okay? We want to hold it lightly. We don't want to sit there and grip it to death, all right? And we want to stroke, and as we're pushing and pulling with this bottom hand, we want to push with the top hand. We want to use our tricep. And also we want to get some trunk rotation if you have that available to you. We want the shoulders to go back and forth. Okay? That'll engage the larger muscles in your core and help you get more power and smooth through the water. We also want the paddle to be level and even. Okay? We want length. We want the same length from one hand and the other hand so that we get a nice even stroke and try to keep ourselves going straight. If I'm down here, I'm going to start turning because I have my hands off center. So sometimes it's just a simple correction of this. One other thing about paddles is most of them have a little out of round so that you can feel where your hand should go. They should be comfortable. We also have a lot of hand adaptations that we'll talk about in another section. All right, so we're going to just, I'm going to hop right in this boat. So let's talk about a forward stroke. All right, and what we want to do is we want to go from the tip of the boat to the hip, okay? Tip to hip, or toes to nose, okay? But this is our power zone. This is what's going to keep us moving forward with any momentum. Once we get past the hip, it becomes it creates drag, which makes it a turning stroke, okay? So a forward stroke is tip to hip, and if you're rotating your shoulders, you're set up for the next stroke simply by using your core muscles, and you're using a whole lot less arms. So if at the end of the day your biceps are killing you from paddling, you might be doing it a little bit wrong, but that's all right. It takes a lifetime to master a good forward stroke. In a whitewater boat, you do 100 circles in each way before you figure out how to go straight. Now let's talk about turning the boat a little bit. If I go from tip to stern, and you'll see my shoulders continue like that, I'm actually going along in a big arc and pushing water under the back of the boat. That's going to create drag and make the boat turn in a direction without slowing it down. Okay, this is called a sweep stroke. Okay, sweep stroke is very important to make the boat turn left and right. All right, now the last two strokes that I will kind of go over real quick is once you're going forward, the big thing you need to do is be able to stop. So all you need to do to stop is you keep the paddle straight up and down, tap in the water, 1, 2, 3, and that will slow you down to a stop in most cases. If you need to do it a few more times, again, you'll see that I'm just dipping it in a little bit to create some drag and slow the boat to a stop. If you need to stop a little faster, then we can employ what we call a backward stroke, or if you need to go backwards. All right, and for a backward stroke, we're going to lay our paddle flat on the water, okay? Now, this is also a vulnerable position for newer paddlers to tip over as well because they're reaching behind themselves in the seat, okay? So make sure you're not digging that paddle really in hard. All you want to do is keep the blade in the water and move it forward. Blade in the water and move it forward. Okay, and this will work to make you go backwards, and it will also help you to stop faster. But again, you're just putting the blade lightly in the water. We're not digging it down because that will pull us over a bit. So all of the paddle that you need in the water is really, once you have that blade, this white part here in the water, you don't need much more than that in the water. If the shaft is in up to here, you're going probably deeper than you need to be. So again, it's just a nice light thing. And for most touring strokes, we want to just keep the paddle low, save our energy, not up here, because that's going to waste energy. All right, well, that's pretty much the quick rundown on a few quick strokes. And if you have questions, if you want more information, you can actually just get Carly online or come on down to one of the clinics once we open up. Carly, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ralph. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to show us some of the kayaking strokes that we utilize on the water at NEHSA and that folks can utilize on the water when they go out and kayak on their own. Have a great day.